Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And today we're diving into the world of a bird that's so visually stunning, you might think it wandered out of a nature documentary about mythical creatures.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
The cock of the rock. I mean, picture this. Vibrant orange plumage, practically glowing in the rainforest shade, and this incredible half-moon crest that makes it look like it's ready to headline a rock concert in the jungle.
Yeah, it's definitely a showstopper. And that visual spectacle is tied to some pretty fascinating evolutionary strategies. But before we get too lost in that wow factor, why don't we ground ourselves with some basics? This bird is officially known as Rupicola rupicola.
Rupicola, huh?
Yeah,
It even sounds exotic.
it really does. It does have a ring to it. And it's a member of the Cotingidae family, a group of birds known for their, shall we say, flamboyant fashion choices.
Uh-huh.
And you'll find them in the tropical rainforests of northern South America. So that's countries like Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana.
Okay, so we're talking those lush, incredibly diverse rainforests.
Exactly.
Perfect habitat for such a striking bird. But you mentioned something about their looks being tied to survival strategies. What did you mean by that?
Well, those vibrant colors play a big role in their mating rituals. But beyond attracting mates, the cock of the rock plays a vital role in maintaining the health of the rainforest itself. They're really important for seed dispersal.
Seed dispersal.
Yeah.
So, like, they're tiny feathered gardeners helping to keep the rainforest alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their diet is a key part of this. They're primarily frugivores, meaning they feast on fruit. So we're talking berries, figs, other soft fruits found throughout the rainforest.
So I'm picturing them flitting through the canopy, gobbling up fruit, and then depositing those seeds as they go about their day.
Exactly. But it's not just any fruit they're eating. They've shown a fondness for the fruits of specific tree species,
Oh, really?
like cecropia trees
Hmm.
and palms. These trees, some of which form the very structure of the rainforest canopy, rely heavily on the cock of the rock to spread their seeds to new areas, ensuring the forest's regeneration. It's a great example of coevolution. The bird gets a meal, the trees get to propagate.
Wow. That's incredible. It's like this bird's striking appearance is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to its role in the ecosystem. I'm already starting to appreciate them on a whole new level. But let's go back to those visuals for a second, because I'm still kind of stuck on that bright orange plumage. Did you say the females don't share that same color scheme?
Good eye. Yeah, there's a definite difference between the males and the females. The males, they're the ones flaunting that brilliant orange. It's almost as if they're trying to outshine the sun.
Which I guess they kind of are down there in that shadowy rainforest understory.
Exactly. And then you have the females. They tend to be more of a subdued brownish orange or reddish hue.
Okay.
They need to blend into the surroundings to protect themselves and their nests.
So the males are all about standing out, being seen, while the females are all about blending in, staying safe.
You could say that. It all comes back to their respective roles in reproduction. The males need to attract the female's attention, and what better way to do that in a dense rainforest than with a vibrant splash of color that can be seen from a distance?
Right.
And the females, well, they need to stay hidden, especially when nesting, to protect themselves and their young from predators.
Makes sense. A classic example of how natural selection shapes different strategies for survival and reproduction. But if the males are trying to get the female's attention, I'm guessing there's more to it than just standing around looking pretty.
You're absolutely right. And this is where it gets really interesting. We're about to enter the world of some really elaborate mating rituals.
Okay, tell me more. Are we talking intricate dances, special songs? Because I am here for all of it. Okay, I'm ready. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Tell me about these mating rituals.
All right, so imagine this. Communal display areas. They're called leks. And it's where the males all gather to compete for the attention of the females.
So like their own version of a singles bar.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. And in these licks, they put on a show that would rival any Broadway production.
Oh, wow.
You've got vibrant postures, exaggerated movements, loud calls, and even a distinctive croaking sound.
Wait, croaking
Yeah.
like a frog.
Yes, it's really quite surprising, coming from such a visually stunning bird, but it's all part of the display.
That's amazing. So much drama, so much personality.
Mhm.
It's like nature's own reality show. But I am curious about the role of the females in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Do they just passively watch, or do they have a say in choosing their mate?
Oh, the females are far from passive observers. They're incredibly discerning.
Yeah.
They'll carefully evaluate the male's performances before making their choice.
Wow.
And it's not just about flash and flare, though. Scientists think that the females are assessing things like the male's health, his vigor, his ability to control a prime spot in the leak. These are all indicators of good genes,
Right.
which, of course, the females want to pass on to their offspring.
So it's not just about looks, it's about finding a mate who's going to be a good provider and ensure the survival of their chicks.
Exactly. And once a female makes her choice, the responsibility of nesting and raising the young falls entirely on her shoulders.
Oh, wow. So all that elaborate courtship from the males,
Yeah.
and then they basically just disappear. No help with nest building or chick rearing.
That's right. The male's role ends with mating. The females, they take on the responsibility of building the nests, incubating the eggs, and caring for the chicks until they're ready to fledge.
Wow. Talk about a single mom hustle. Where do they even build their nests in this dense rainforest environment?
They're pretty resourceful when it comes to nesting. They typically build cup-shaped nests on rocky surfaces like cliff faces or cave walls,
Right.
using mud and twigs and leaves.
Interesting. So visually speaking, we've gone from the vibrant orange male against the lush green backdrop to this more subdued brown female tending to her nest tucked away on a rocky surface. It's really a fascinating shift in perspective.
It is, and it reflects the different demands of each stage of their life cycle. But, I did want to touch on something you mentioned earlier, the challenges facing rainforests
Yeah.
and how that might impact these birds. You asked if they're endangered?
Yeah, it's something I always think about, when learning about a new species, especially one that's so reliant on a specific habitat like the rainforest.
It's a valid concern. And while the cock in the rock is currently listed as least concern by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the IUCN,
Yeah.
the global authority on the conservation status of species, it doesn't mean that they're immune to threats.
Right. So what are some of the biggest threats facing them, even with that least concern classification?
Well, habitat loss is a major one. Deforestation driven by things like logging, mining, agriculture is shrinking their rainforest homes at an alarming rate. And as those forests shrink and become fragmented, it becomes more and more difficult for the birds to find suitable nesting sites.
Right.
And for the males to establish their leks, which are so crucial for those mating rituals.
Right, because if the males can't find each other to put on their elaborate displays,
Yeah.
or if the females are more spread out because of habitat fragmentation, then it just becomes harder for them to find mates and successfully reproduce.
Exactly. It really highlights the interconnectedness of everything in an ecosystem. And then there's the illegal pet trade. Because of their stunning appearance, cock of the rocks are sometimes targeted for the illegal pet trade,
Yeah.
which can further deplete wild populations.
It's so disheartening to think that these beautiful creatures are being taken from their natural habitat just to end up in cages. But I'm curious, are there any conservation efforts underway to protect them and their habitat?
There are, and thankfully, many cock of the rock populations are found within protected areas, like national parks and reserves,
Okay.
where deforestation and other threats are managed. So these protected areas provide safe havens for the birds to breed and thrive.
That's good to hear. It sounds like protecting those remaining rainforest habitats is just so crucial, not just for the cock of the rock, but for all the other species that call those forests home.
Absolutely, it's all connected. And by focusing on habitat conservation, we can protect entire ecosystems and the amazing biodiversity they contain.
Yeah, it's a sobering reminder that even a species classified as least concern can still face some pretty significant threats. But it's good to hear that those protected areas are out there. It
Yeah.
sounds like those conservation efforts are really making a difference.
They really are. And it highlights the importance of continued research and monitoring. Scientists are constantly working to understand the cock of the rocks population dynamics, their habitat requirements, and the impacts of threats like deforestation and climate change. All of this information is really crucial for developing effective conservation strategies.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from their striking appearance and elaborate mating rituals to their crucial role as seed dispersers and the threats they face. What would you say is the most important takeaway for our listener today?
Well, I think the key takeaway here is that the cock of the rock is just a powerful symbol of the interconnectedness of life in the rainforest. It's a reminder that every species, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, plays a role in the delicate balance of its ecosystem.
And disrupting that balance, whether it's through habitat loss, climate change, or other human activities, can have some pretty far-reaching consequences.
Exactly. The cock of the rock story is a reminder that conservation is not just about protecting individual species, it's about protecting entire ecosystems and the intricate web of life that sustains them.
So the next time our listener sees a picture of a cock of the rock, They might see beyond that stunning orange plumage and recognize it as a symbol of the rainforest's incredible biodiversity and the importance of protecting this vital habitat.
That would be amazing. These birds are not just beautiful, they're vital to the health of their ecosystem and a testament to the power of evolution. And their story is a call to action for all of us to appreciate and protect the natural world.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave our listeners to ponder the interconnectedness of nature and the role we all play in its preservation. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.